Fine penalty killing once again by Team Canada. They've given up one power play goal against in this game, but their penalty killing through the tournament has been very, very strong. Bill Ranford picking up something from the ice, giving it to Pat Kuzo, the linesman. That's why we have the delay. Plus, he's trying to get a message to his bench that he'd like some more water. He said he got tired in Toronto a little bit the other night with all the work, plus the heat in the building.
Yeah, no air conditioning in Maple Leaf Gardens. Much more comfortable in here this evening in the Montreal Forum. Messier wins the draw. Quick shot by Grant. He'll get a second chance with it. Beating it in behind the Czechoslovakian net. Being left there for number 7, Richard Smelik. He wasn't supposed to play very much, but when Kuchera took that high stick from Messier and was gone for what we presume is the rest of this game, he gets more ice time. Good check in the corner down in the Canadian zone as Team Canada picks it up and shoots it down the ice. 40 seconds left in Paul Coffey's slashing penalty. Rain getting it to Messier. Messier to Desjardins. Desjardins shooting. That is blocked. Puck rolling in the Czech zone. Now picked up by Czechoslovakia. And Raczynski has it with a rink-wide pass on the right side to Palfi. Stevens takes over for the Canadians. Czechoslovakia carrying on. Here's a chance rolling across the goal crease, and it was a rolling puck that Baranek couldn't get his stick on. Here is Bacha. Hitting around Messier nicely. Now Messier comes back, hucks him a little bit, didn't get called for that, and Messier takes charge. They clear the zone, and Coffey's back on the ice. Canada back at full strength. Jurgis Bacha. Lead pass goes nowhere. Team Canada not shooting the Czechs just 3-2. Not many good scoring opportunities either way. Team Canada has the only goal by Gretzky in this period. And there is a stoppage in play again. They'll take it to the Czechoslovakian blue line. Let's go to Rod Black now.
In Chicago Stadium tonight, Team USA on Mike Modano's goal, leading the Soviet Union 1-0. It will come down to Monday to decide that final playoff spot at this Labatt Canada Cup.
Dirk Graham used primarily as a penalty killer in this tournament, and you can understand why Mike Keenan wanted to keep him. Watch Graham move in here, out-hustle 2 red jerseys, knocked them both off balance, allowing Canada to control the puck. That's Messier now going to get the puck. But Dirk Graham took 2 men right out. Great penalty killing when you see work like that from Graham.
Gretzky's line is on the ice for Team Canada, having weathered the Czechoslovakian power play attempt again on the Coffey penalty. We have 8:40 left in the second period. Team Canada leads 5-1. On the faceoff, it is left there for number 22, Robert Cron. Forcing it up the boards. Larmer circling in front. There'll be a delayed penalty here.
Be a holding call against the Czechs. A holding call off the draw, where one of the Team Canada's players had the stick held. So the Czechs, the Czechoslovakians, make that. Will be shorthanded. Denny Leroux, who played some hockey himself, the referee, played hockey out in Spokane against teams like the Columbia Valley Rockies. He was talking about it yesterday. Said he had a great time.
The Columbia Valley Rockies.
Way out in British Columbia.
Kolnick is in the penalty box.
See the hold right there as Corson couldn't get away.
All 3 officials, by the way, tonight are representing the United States. Pat Capuzzo and Dan Shakti are the 2 linesmen from the USA, along with Dennis Leroux. From the face-off, shoveled back to the Czechoslovakian corner. Krakar in there for it. Corson trying to take over. Gretzky will dictate the pace of this power play right here and right now. Whenever he wants to make the pass, he will. Not before. Sliding it through, and he couldn't quite get it to Steve Larmer. Cron. He got nowhere in the Team Canada zone with 8 minutes to play in the second period. Team Canada with a manpower advantage, already leading 5-1. They scored the first 4 goals of this hockey game. Here's a wide open chance. How did Larmer miss that? Puck bouncing to him with Hasek well out of the play. McKinnis shooting. Gretzky couldn't get to the rebound. It bounced in behind him. McKinnis blasts one. Carson bangs at the rebound, and Hasek hangs on.
Now McKinnis Opportunity after opportunity as the Czechoslovakians not paying attention to him once again. Larmer had a couple of chances during the shift. Canada still has 1:08 left on this power play. 1 minute 8 seconds remaining. A multitude of chances. The puck's dumped in here by McInnes, and somehow it caroms off the glass or boards back in front. Larmer just missed it, I believe. Or maybe Hasek, and diving back, got the backside of his stick on the puck.
He did.
Hasek's job is to anticipate somewhat, but he will have learned a lesson here of not leaving the net too early in the forum when crazy bounces like that are happening.
So another face-off coming up just to the left of Dominik Hasek in goal for Czechoslovakia tonight. In the corner of the Team Canada zone now, the Canadians. Kalnick in the penalty box. We welcome viewers on Sports Channel America looking in. The United States-Soviet game, which the Americans lead 1-0. It's 5-1 here for Canada over Czechoslovakia. Team Canada dominating all the way here in the Montreal Forum, scoring the first 4 goals of the game. McInnes and Gretzky each have 2 for the Canadians. Fleury has the other.
I think to be aware of, international hockey played on large ice surfaces in Europe. Players after a pass or shot don't get hit often. Here in North America on the smaller ice surfaces, you get hit a lot. And I think you're seeing a wearing effect. As Canada is bumping, they're hitting, and the Czechoslovakian hockey club just cannot generate any offense.
Well, everybody in this Team Canada team has generated some offense tonight. Alan McInnes certainly did with 2 first-period goals on 7 shots. Not bad for a defenseman.
He's got to be getting close to double figures. He had 2 shots his last shift, a couple of goals, and we're talking offense. But remember, too, we mentioned it earlier, his overall defense has improved so much. And you can just see it here. He reads plays, doesn't get beat very often one-on-one, and has the strength, the power to outmuscle the opposition.
Eric Lindros, the Bluebirds' delight in the Montreal Forum all night long. Wins the face-off. Murphy on the left point with it. Deflected off the glass for Russ Courtnall. Courtnall tries to feed Messier in front. Messier is taken down, and the Czechs clear the zone. Back on the ice, the penalized Czechoslovakian player. They are at full strength, trailing by 5-1. Young Eric Lindros, as the crowd boos him again. They've been doing that since the pregame warm-up. Lindros very determined not to go to the Quebec Nordique. He will decide his own future. They shoot it down the ice, and there'll be an icing call against Team Canada. Face-off back to the right of Billy Ranford, who's been very strong when called upon tonight.
There's a radio station in Quebec City that has the call letters of CHRC, and one of the hosts there has been trying to talk the people of Quebec into maybe cheering Lindros when he comes here, trying the reverse effect. Be nice to the young man, maybe we'll get him here. It's not working. The people aren't happy that Lindros has stated he will not report to the Nordique.
Aronik on the face-off leaves it beside the Team Canada goal. Number 3 is Scott Stevens for Canada. Getting it ahead now to Messier across the blue line, leaving it for Czechoslovakian player Ruchinski. Right side for Aronik. He's met by Messier, and Canada clears the zone. Long shot, Ranford handles, but it's whistled down at the blue line on the offside call. 5:42 to go here, and Canada has a 5-1 lead over Czechoslovakia.
Pace here in the second period basically has slowed to a crawl. Not many chances both ways. I think Pat Burns and Brian Sutter, along with Mike Keenan and the 2 coaches upstairs, Tom Webster and Tom Watt, I think will be satisfied with the Canadian defensive play here in the second period. Obviously, and it's only human nature, I think, when you have a 5-1 lead and the other team not charging too much, that your level will drop a little bit.
Let's face it, we were delighted and spoiled the first 3 games. The pace of hockey we saw. Finland first, then the United States skating with Canada every step of the way, and Sweden in the 3rd game. And we had moments of that in the first period tonight, but this Czechoslovakian team looks badly overmatched. From the faceoff, Baranek lost the draw. Tocchet digs it back to Al McInnes, and he feeds it ahead in the center ice zone. Intercepted there. Slager gets bumped as he crosses the blue line, and Graham comes back to pick it up. Slager and McInnes are going at it. The sticks are getting up there. Tocchet now with his stick and his arms around the neck of the Czechoslovakian player Yuri Slager.
It was a one-on-one. Slager going against McInnes, and McInnes showed his strength, not allowing Slager to beat him.
Well, we'll see if penalties do come from this. 5-1 Canada. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. With 5:29 to go in the period, Yuri Slager it is for Czechoslovakia.
There's a couple of Detroit fans, it looks like. Where is Yzerman? Yzerman is getting ready to step into camp with the Red Wings. The Red Wings are going to have a pretty good hockey club this year, I think. They've imported a lot of skilled, talented players, plus some muscle. Don, they're going to be very interesting.
So much has been expected of them the last, what, 2 or 3 years. Well, they never quite fulfilled it.
The thing, too, is that I think Steve Yzerman will be on a mission now after not making this club. And I'm certainly going to try and at least get a copy of the tape from the first meeting that he has. Detroit with Chicago, Mike Keenan's club. It could be an Yzerman clinic.
And with a mission. Baranek at the blue line is bodied by Graham, and Sutter carries on for Team Canada, knifing in front of his own net now with a left side pass. Right wing relay for Graham as they hit the blue line. Sutter goes for the net. Here's Graham getting it back to Tocchet. Graham setting to shoot, thinks better of that now. Will sweep it across the ice for Coffey. Coffey tried to feed Tocchet. He got turned around, and Raczynski has it for Czechoslovakia. Less than 5 minutes remaining in the 2nd period. Boccia having difficulty. Finally brings it forward for the Czechs to Raczynski. Oh, wide open pass here. They set up Baranek. He goes in and he scores.
You can see that coming. Baranek was way up past center ice when the puck was still inside the Czechoslovakian zone. And with a couple of good passes, he broke way out. I mean, way out. And you'll take a look and you'll see him way past center ice, and he's got a breakaway from the blue line in. A little fake with a stick blade, and he found the short side with Bill Ranford. Watch the stick blade go over the puck here. What, right there, slow down, little change of pace, and to the stick side, beating Bill Ranford. So the Czechs score their 2nd goal, now trail by 3.
Josef Baranek getting his first goal of this Canada Cup series. Makes it 5-2. The Czechs still trail by 3. 4:40 left in the 2nd period. See if this gives a little life to Czechoslovakia now. Leo Gudas, the defenseman.
They like the open ice here more than anything, Don, with 2 players in the penalty box. The ice opened up, and the passes were made.
Here's Gretzky now hitting the blue line, drumming it for Smith. Tried to feed Larmer, couldn't get it to him. And you're right, this gives the appearance of the larger European rink with fewer people out there for the moment of the offsetting penalties. Sweeping the net is Kron, digging it out in front. Loose puck in the Canadian zone, and it's cleared back to center ice. Gretzky forechecking for Canada. Gudas brings it away with a pass on the right side to Seeger. Smith defending to Desjardins. 25 seconds left in those 2 penalties. Gretzky. Larmer shoots it to him into the corner. Wayne can't catch up. Team Canada will change on the move now. Seeger against Courtnall. Gudas. He gets bumped across the line. Courtnall in behind his net for Stevens. Now the 2 penalized players come back on the ice. Slager and McInnes. Everybody at full strength. Courtnall trying to get around a defender, Prekar at the blue line. Can't do it. Stevens with it. Flips it off on the left side for Corson. Corson centering it. And on the angle, it was redirected by Hasek. That goal by Czechoslovakia was just on their 3rd shot of the 2nd period. Overall, they've been outshot 21-12 by Team Canada and outscored 5-2. 3 minutes left in this period, the 2nd. This is Jagr. Courtnall rescues it for Canada. Kastic watching him. He is one of the 2 Czechoslovakian goals tonight. Robitaille in front, nobody there.
Hasek's an adventure, isn't he?
Take some chances.
Yes, he does.
Fleury gets turned around. Now copy of trouble occurring against Casta. Murphy feeds it ahead for Luc Robitaille, the LA Kings, to Fleury. Leo Fleury closing in with a shot. Hasek there to block down to the short side as he hugs the post. Yuri Slager on the near boards, relayed by Pivonka rink wide. Now Robitaille with a chance at the blue line. Swings it inside. McInnes tried to make the play, and he couldn't quite get it past the defender. 2 minutes to go here in the second period. Here is Pivonka getting a shot away. Closing in on Billy Ranford. Harachuk trying to beat Fleury. Number 13, Richard Zemlika now makes the play. Zemlika closing in, a backhand drive glove by Ranford with 1:45 to go. It remains Canada 5, Czechoslovakia 2. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV. Well, Mike Keenan has to be a little frustrated. He saw his team grab a quick lead, and the Czechs have come back a little bit now.
Started this morning with the team's practice. The Zamboni was out here on the ice surface to resurface after the Czechoslovakian team had practiced, but it broke down. And as Team Canada practiced, there was a Zamboni stuck on the ice. And you've often heard people say, especially some broadcasters, Don, say that that defenseman looked like a Zamboni out there. Well, there was one.
They had to skate around it as best they could.
Yeah, that's it.
1:35 seconds remaining in the second period. Desjardins squeezing it down the ice. Graham gets cut off as he tries to go into the corner by Bacha. Tocchet couldn't quite get it. Pivonka, right wing. Zemlika, here's the shot, didn't get all the way through. Desjardins picks it up, and there's a net off its moorings and the stoppage in play with 1:07 to go here in the period.
John and Don, coming up between periods, a Canadian Open round 3 report where the lesser knowns are dominating Glen Abbey. We'll go to that U.S. and Soviet Union match, still 1-0 for the Americans. We'll take a CTV sports break, and of course Bill Clement will be along with second period analysis.
Much more to come from the Forum in Montreal tonight as Canada cruises in on a third win and 7 points out of a possible 8 in their first 4 games here in the Canada Cup with a 5-2 lead over Czechoslovakia. Sutter directing traffic out there as he prepares for the face-off against Czechoslovakia's Josef Baranek.
Sutter positioning everybody. He's a fine centerman face-off artist. He spends a lot of time working with Shane Corson, who's taken a number of draws in this tournament for Wayne Gretzky. Sutter teaching the other centermen about face-offs.
Sutter must have an exceptionally high success percentage in this tournament, winning draws. Can't recall too many he has lost. Desjardins keeping it alive at the point. Swings around Palffy. Lets the shot go. A weak one, but it's gloved by Hasek.
There's another example, Don, of 3 Czechoslovakian players cruising out to go after 1 Canadian player, and that was Desjardins, the defenseman. And if that puck wasn't so high that he put towards the goaltender so the goalie could grab it and freeze it, I mean, there's people open. 3 players going after 1 player in your defensive zone doesn't work too often. This guy's a character, by the way, Hasek. He had to do some mandatory military service in Czechoslovakia, as all the young men did at his time. They said that it may change him. He's a bit of a free spirit. Everybody that knew Hasek said, no, he may change the army.
Stevens with a blast, and that just misses the target. Murphy will feed it down the boards. Shanahan in behind as Gretzky can't control the bouncing puck, and it slides to center ice with 35 seconds to go in the period. Stevens circling back at his own blue line. Murphy flipping it down from center ice. Now 20 seconds remaining. Usul shooting it down the ice for the Czechs with 15 seconds to go in the period, and Murphy has it for Canada.
Another crunching check. This time Shanahan hit Palffy, who went to the bench, and I think he's maybe asking for the Excedrin. He got crunched.
Extra strength. Period ends 5-2. Canada still leading Czechoslovakia. 7-5. Not much offense. Shots on goal favoring Canada in the period. 23-14 on the night, but they still hold a 3-goal bulge.
It wasn't a classic period by any means, but I think, again, it's human nature for a team to let down a little bit when they have such a one-sided lead.
You tend to relax a little bit, and the Czechs came back on them, and the lead for Team Canada is 5-2 after 40 minutes of play. This is the Labatt Canada Cup on CTV.
CTV's coverage of the 1991 Labatt Canada Cup is being brought to you in part by Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire is a proud sponsor of Canada Cup. There's a lot more to Canadian Tire than tires.